I just wanted to make this video as a testimonial to what I just saw above my head about 5, maybe 10 minutes ago. A Starlink satellite train disappeared. There was about 30 of them. As I'm walking down the road, I'm always looking up at the stars, and often I'll see single ones moving across the sky slowly. In this case, I saw a Starlink satellite train, about 30 of them. And I see them as they're coming at me. Once they got right to the point above my head, just a little bit before zenith, like top center of the sky, the ones in the front of the line start disappearing. And the rest of the line keeps disappearing. And after about a third of them, after about 10 of them disappeared, I said out loud, they're disappearing. And as the line of 30 of them come up, right here, just before they hit the very top center of the sky, they start disappearing behind, like there was something up in the sky, and they were going behind it. And when they would disappear, their luminosity, their brightness, wouldn't go from 10 down to 0 that quick, like there was a fine line when they went right behind something. They kind of dimmed slowly as they all went behind what appeared to be a line in the sky, and as each one of them crosses this line, they disappear. And I stood there for another 5 or 10 minutes. Someone had their lights in my eyes down at the end of the road. I stood there for another 5 or 10 minutes watching to see if they came out the other side. Like if there's something up there in the sky and they went behind it so you can't see them, I was waiting to see if maybe they would come out the other side. And there wasn't a big black spot in the sky where something was covering all the stars. There was other stars pretty, randomly scattered out, but you could see a bunch of other stars. This was all going through my mind as I'm sitting there waiting for them to come back out the other side. The implications of this is profound. It means they're probably not Starlink satellites. Combine that with the airborne aircraft carrier images. Older viewers will know what I'm talking about. With all those triangular craft, each one of which has 3 fins on the back side of the triangle craft. In some instances, parked 2 by 2 by 2. In other instances, about 6 or 8 of them parked at the end of a runway with the triangle craft here and a straight line, and another one, triangle craft here and a straight line. And I refer to this as the airborne aircraft carrier, and shortly after I produced that video where I zoomed into a video taken with a Santilli telescope, with KC Kid 913, his homemade Santilli telescope with a beauty mirror, which is magnifying mirror so you can look close, combined with one of those magnifying glass domes, a half a sphere that works as a magnifying glass, placed on top of a mirror, which is a beauty mirror, 4x magnification, 6x, put them together, and it creates what they call a Santilli telescope. KC Kid made one of those. He's hanging it out his window. Actually, it's mounted outside his window on some sort of like a cup holder kind of thing. And he's videotaping the Santilli telescope that he's made, his homemade thing. You can see his truck mirror. You can see that it's just hanging off the edge of his door. And I take a screenshot of that and zoom in and run a bunch of contrast and zoom in some more and run a bunch of contrast and reveal what appears to be a lot of machinery and 100% an airborne aircraft carrier, for lack of a better term, because of all the triangles on it, triangular craft, each one of which has 3 fins on the backside, the fact that they're parked 2 by 2 by 2, and the fact that 6 or 8 of them are parked at the ends of runways. A few months after I made that video, the Air Force comes out and announces that they have plans to create an airborne aircraft carrier. When they acknowledge and publicize their plans, it means it's been in existence for years. Those Starlink satellite trains disappearing behind something is probably closely associated with those airborne aircraft carrier. I think that's about all I got for now. I want to make this short and sweet. Maybe I'll add something to it later and just cut this and maybe snip it in with further commentary later. But the implications of those Starlink satellite train disappearing behind something, they either went into something or behind something. As they all disappeared, the whole line of them coming overhead, right as they hit this spot, they just disappear until the last one goes behind it, and they're all gone. That means they're not satellites. That means they're far more likely associated with these airborne aircraft carrier. And like I've said, they're escape pods. Just like in the movie 2012 where they made something like Noah's Ark, a bunch of spaceships that took off before the 2012 cataclysm. Remember the CEO exodus? When it first started, people noticed like 90 CEOs had quit within a few months. CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, many of whom were young, 30, 40 years old. They had their whole career ahead of them, and they just quit. They just resigned, and then didn't pop up as the CEO of a similar company just as big. People started noticing this when there was like 90 or 100 CEOs that disappeared, and they were calling it the CEO exodus. That number grew and grew and grew, and if you Google it now, it's, I think, up over 2,000 CEOs of these large companies that just resigned, quit. Those aren't satellites. I made that video last night, and then I wake up this morning to see that Marfugal News put out a video regarding the trailer for a movie called Leave the World Behind, produced by a movie studio owned by Barack and Michelle. This movie, Leave the World Behind, there's a part in it where one of the guys says, and it's just the trailer, the actual movie doesn't come out until like December. And in the trailer, one of the guys says, haven't you noticed what's going on out there? They have deserted us. Here's a post by NBC News, a reliable mainstream source, saying, why have more than 1,300 CEOs left their post in the past year? And that was posted November 6th, 2019. So this isn't just a conspiracy theory. This reached mainstream news and was acknowledged by mainstream news. Where are all these CEOs going? Why is nobody talking about the mass resignation of major CEOs? Here's one from 2021. The last year saw a massive uptick in CEO turnover with over 1,200 chief executives leaving their posts. That was posted in 2021, and it was regarding the year of 2021. So in 2019, you saw 1,300 CEOs had disappeared in that one article. Here you see, in the year 2021, another 1,200 left their posts. That's 2,500. I just entered Invisible Shield into the search engine of YouTube, and we'll just show you some of the thumbnail images. And this is what's capable of being done with simple, like plexiglass, where it makes the thing that is immediately behind it invisible, and what you see through it is what's further behind. On those two cases on the left, you can still see the fence when the guy's sitting behind it. You can still see the dad's legs, and the little girl is invisible. On this one, you can still see the park bench, and the guy sitting on the park bench is invisible. When something simple as some plexiglass can create this effect, surely a similar effect can be created in the sky and possibly be an explanation to why I saw those Starlink satellite train disappear, yet you could still see stars all around, because what they flew behind was not, it's like it bends the light. I think you get the point here. The invisibility shield. Cloaking technology. And the way that it bends the light to where you can see what's behind the person sitting on the bench, and you can see what's behind the lady standing in front of those white slats. it bends the light around the person. And I think the same thing happens. A lot of these craft have a sphere around them, an electromagnetic sphere that's probably part of the same anti-gravitational technology that gives them propulsion and levitation, and it bends the light around the craft. So it makes the craft invisible and you just see what's on the other side of the craft. Plenty of examples that you can check out online. It's pretty cool stuff. Way cool stuff. Here's a clip from the movie 2012, the Ark scene, and that's one of the arks. And here's a part where all the people are trying to get on the arks and they weren't invited. And recently, Putin activated Operation Noah's Ark. Will Putin flee Russia? Desperate, Putin draws up the Noah's Ark plan to flee to South America. Where is Putin? Russian leader may be plotting a Noah's Ark escape. But I think they might be fleeing further than South America. As if, oh, he goes to South America, we can't get him there. Here's an image that Elon Musk tweeted a while back. Guy sitting there from the moon looking at the earth getting destroyed by a comet, and the joke is, oh my god, the economy. Like only people who aren't in the know have any concern about the economy. And here's an email that was quote, quote, leaked, that was, I think, from Elon Musk to the whole company, basically saying the company's going to go, quote unquote, bankrupt if we can't produce these Starlink satellites and get them off the ground quick enough, so we have to increase rapid acceleration like a panic. They're frantically trying to get these things off the ground, because if we don't get enough of them up in the air quickly enough, we're going to go, quote unquote, bankrupt. Unfortunately, the Raptor production crisis is much worse than it seemed a few weeks ago, as we have dug into the issues following exiting prior senior management. Exiting prior senior management? Yeah, part of the CEO exodus. The senior management that was here in place prior to the current management? Yeah. Following exiting prior senior management, they have unfortunately turned out to be far more severe than was reported. There is no way to sugarcoat this. I was going to take this weekend off as my first weekend in a long time, but instead, I will be on the Raptor line all night and through the weekend. Unless you have critical family matters or cannot physically return to Hawthorne, we need all hands on deck to recover from what is, quite frankly, a disaster. The consequences for SpaceX, if we can't get enough reliable Raptors made, is that we can't fly Starship. Which means we then can't fly Starlink Satellite V2. Falcon has neither the volume nor the mass to orbit the needed volume nor mass for the needed satellite. And the V1 itself is financially weak, whereas V2 is strong. In addition, we are spooling up terminal production in several million units per year, which will consume massive capital, assuming that satellite V2 will be on orbit to handle the bandwidth demand. These terminals will be useless otherwise. What it comes down to is that we face genuine risk of bankruptcy if we cannot achieve a Starship flight rate of at least once every 2 weeks next year. Maybe bandwidth is actually capacity carrying load of people, and bankruptcy is like a code word. It's a euphemism for we're going to be effed in a major way. But it's not about the economy of the company. Get it? And last night, after this experience of seeing the Starlink satellite trains disappear and then making that video of my testimonial about what I just seen, I was listening to music and I noticed that my playlist that YouTube has created for me when you hit mix. This one was AWOL Nation Wake Up Mix. The video that's actually playing on the screen there is Kill Your Heroes. But I took a few screenshots. See the spaceman getting ready to bounce? I took a few screenshots because all of these songs, if you understand the narrative, there is a thread of narrative that runs through all of them. AWOL Nation, wake up. We're leaving all the haters behind before the sun decides to hide. Kill your heroes. I say you kill your heroes and fly, fly. Baby, don't cry. No need to worry, 'cause everybody will die. And every day you just go, go. Baby, don't go. And don't you worry, we love you more than you know. Windows. I can't believe this is happening. Do we really know which way the wind blows? Are we really safer in the shadows? AWOL Nation sail. This is how an angel cries. This is how I show my love. And then the chorus is, sail with me into the dark. Sail with me into the dark. And burn it down, baby, burn it down. And like people, like plastic. Yellow Wolf, I don't know, but Imagine Dragons Natural. Jump on My Shoulders by AWOL Nation. Soul Wars by AWOL Nation. Legendary by Welshly Arms. Hollow Moon by AWOL Nation. On Top of the World. We'll go over a couple of the lyrics in that one here in a second. It's Time by Imagine Dragons. Whatever It Takes by Imagine Dragons. Counting Stars by One Republic. Imagine Dragons, the song Thunder. Blackmill, Let It Be. Children of the Sun by Billy Thorpe. And The Highly Suspect, My Name is Human, that's going to have to be saved for the next video regarding an AI god, which I know is a subject that will rub a lot of you the wrong way. Believer by Imagine Dragons. Like most of the songs that were in my mix playlist here that YouTube creates for me just based on previous content that I've consumed, have the same narrative running through them. You might want to listen to some of those songs with this understanding in mind, the basic narrative in this new movie produced by Barack and Michelle called Leave the World Behind. Come on, baby, take a chance with us and meet me at the back of the blue bus, or it hurts to set you free, but you'll never follow me. Can you picture what will be so limitless and free when you're desperately in need of some stranger's hand in a desperate land? And most of you are not capable of receiving and accepting such an offer. What kind of offer? The kind of offer that, if shunned, means you might as well be walking on the sun. So don't delay, act now. Supplies are running out. Allow if you're still alive. 6 to 8 years to arrive. And if you follow, there may be a tomorrow. But if the offer's shunned, you might as well be walking on the sun. Most of you would not be capable of receiving and accepting such an offer because of your attachments to this world. Particularly your relationships to the people in this world. This is where it's the only world you've ever known. This is all the places that you've known as home, the people that you've known as family and friends. And if you were offered a ticket aboard one of those arcs, like in the movie 2012, you probably wouldn't be able to accept them. And like in that new movie where he says they have deserted us, it's the same basic plot line. And in the song The End by The Doors, they get on the blue bus and say, "Driver, where you taking us?"
The patron saint of the Bohemian Grove is St. John of Nepomuk, and a large statue of him stands inside the grounds with him holding his index finger over his mouth, signifying secrecy and reminding members to keep their mouths shut. A patron saint is someone who embodies a group's philosophies or goals, and John of Nepomuk received the confessionals of the Queen of Bohemia in the 1300s, and when pressured by the king to reveal her confessions after he suspected her of cheating on him, St. John refused and was killed by the king. So basically, he symbolizes Robert De Niro's gangster gospel in Goodfellas, that you never rat on your friends and you always keep your mouth shut, which is why there's a life-size statue of John of Nepomuk standing prominently in the Bohemian Grove. And
so I've spoken of this index finger over the mouth indicating secrecy a bit lately in recent videos, but today we're going to cover some more people who are doing that. This comes from a music video by Imagine Dragons called On Top of the World, where they make a total mockery of the moon landing and reveal it for what it was. And the video starts out with this little boy riding his little tricycle up to this crowd of people who are watching the moon landing on a black and white TV in a storefront window somewhere. And you can see he's got his tinfoil hat on. But also notice that little eyeball and the insignia right here. It says SNOGARD, S-N-O-G-A-R-D. And this is this pops up a few times throughout the music video. And the other day, I referenced this because a guy at work said, you know who buys all the helium? And I said, yeah, NASA. And that indicates to me a lot about what he knows and thinks about, just the fact that he even asked me that question. And so in our conversation, we were talking about, well, how are you going to get over the ice wall? Because he's afraid of heights, doesn't want to do a balloon. How are you going to get over the ice wall to be able to see the edge of the flat earth? He's like, oh, there's a little channel in the middle. I'll take a boat. And so we were having candid conversation. And I said in a video the other day that I was going to send him this Imagine Dragons video on Top of the World, because obviously Fernando's pretty hip to what NASA's about, and that they're not being straightforward with us. Never a straight answer is what they seem to stand for. And I did. I've since sent him the video link to this, and I said, well, maybe Fernando's SNOGARD. And recently someone commented about SNOGARD, and they spelled it S-N-O-W-G-U-A-R-D. That's not how it's spelled. So let's check out some of these other images. There it is again on his shirt. He walks up to the storefront window, and he's looking at the moon landing while all these other people around him are watching the moon landing. And he's got his little tinfoil hat on, and this was you and me as a kid, right? Been dreaming of this for a while now, paying my dues to the dirt, and I'm on top of the world. Over here you got 2001, which is reference to a language called Kubrickian, a reference to Stanley Kubrick, who made 2001 A Space Odyssey, a movie I've never seen. And he made a bunch of other movies I've never seen, but I know there's a whole language of symbolism revolving around that guy. Here I will reference the song Renegades, where it says, let's hear it for the Renegades, like Spielberg's and Kubrick's. Spielberg gave us E.T. There are skeletal remains of beings that look exactly like what you saw in the movie E.T., with 3 long spindly fingers, 3 long spindly toes, and these can all be seen on Gaia TV. They used to be available on YouTube, and I documented them at the time, but those are no longer available. They have reptile-like skin, small slits as their nose holes, but most reptilian is the fact that they have ribs that go from top to bottom. We have 9 ribs that stop about midway down our spine. They have ribs that go all the way down their spine. These ETs that look exactly like what you saw in Spielberg's movie called E.T. They have a single bone where we have the radius and the ulna in the forearm. They have a single bone. Where we have the tibia and the fibula in our shin, they have a single bone. And there is many of these skeletons, which shows that they are not a genetic mutation, but a line of genetics, like a species. So let's hear it for the renegades, Spielbergs and Kubricks. It's our time to make a move. It's our time to make amends. It's our time to break the rules. Let's begin. That's the song Renegades. So this 2001 here is a reference to Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey. Here you have one of the Beatles. I'm going to just leave that at that. I think that's McCartney. My point was not to focus here on McCartney. Here you have, in his eyeglasses, black and white checkerboard floor. You can see that. Here, in his picture with his family, you can see two things. Right here is the Freemasonic emblem. Right here behind her is the Order of the Eastern Star, the female division of Freemasonry. I'll get back. I'll show you some close-ups of those things I just pointed out. Again, SNOGARD. Maybe Fernando Snowguard. Maybe use Snowguard, eh? Scenic Overlook. That's again a reference to the Kubrickian language of the Overlook Hotel in the movie The Shining. There it is again, SNOGARD. On the monolith, 2001 Space Odyssey has something about a monolith in it. Again, I'm not familiar with Kubrickian language. I haven't seen a lot of these movies that it's referencing, but this music video titled On Top of the World that's showing you that the moon landing was obviously a big joke is packed with the Kubrickian language. I just grabbed this because whatever that is on the door, on the storefront, probably. On that storefront, it says Stan and Bricks as a reference to Stanley Kubrick. Just a little addition. I didn't know that at the time. Someone clued me in the comments section. Means something. Again, there's the monolith. And there's her going, shh. They didn't put this in there just because the director said, yeah, let's make it like she's trying to listen to the moon landing and her fellow hippies won't be quiet enough, so she can't hear about the moon landing on the radio. And so she's like asking her fellow hippies to be quiet. No, this is more of that symbolism that means more than meets the eye to the average person. But to those who are familiar with the language, they know what this means. Get with the program. Most people can't see that and that. So that's the Order of the Eastern Star. Each one of these limbs of this star is a different color in the Order of the Eastern Star, the women's division of Freemasonry. And there is the square and compass of Freemasonry. Along with that black and white checkerboard floor of Freemasonry. So this song, On Top of the World by Imagine Dragons, is a celebration song for those of us that are been waiting for this for a while now, been dreaming of this since a child now. And we're going to be on top of the world when this big truth is revealed. But I think those who still want to believe in NASA are going to be given the opportunity to continue believing in NASA. And those who want to join the SNOGARD, those who are SNOGARD, well, we'll let those people that want to believe in NASA continue believing in NASA. But we've been looking for this for a long time, and we're about to get the rewards of all of our endeavors and all of our efforts. But you got to lose the fear of all those preconceived ideas, of all that hearsay, of all that stuff that you think you know. No one gets on board thinking they know something. So here's Bowie, who was famous for doing that index finger over the mouth trick. And I'm thinking that's Tiger Woods doing it. And he's got Bob Marley on one side of him, and it looks like Muhammad Ali on the other side. And this is a collage of famous people. It's a photo I took at the art museum, one of the many art galleries in Park City. In that same collage of famous people, you got Bowie down here. That's the whole collage right there. I've just focused in on a couple of them that are doing that finger on the mouth trick, like this guy here. You see him putting his finger over his lips? Somewhere in there is the one we just looked at as well. Looks like here we got Dave Branson. Those are all famous people that are recognizable names. And from within that larger picture is where I zoomed in here on Tiger Woods. And on this guy doing the same finger over the lips. Shh. And now that it's Alfred Hitchcock. I'll just leave the link in the description for the remainder of this video, where most of what I go through is a trip to the art museums. Over there was one that I actually wanted to back up and show you. The link will be in the description for those who want to watch the rest of this. It's got some good stuff you might be interested in if you like art and symbolism and this language of symbolism. But there's this part here, this is just a sticker someone stuck on a pole somewhere, and on the bottom left it says financial piracy, pirate chain, Arr. And it reminded me of a series of videos James True made regarding pirates and the culture of pirate culture. And he even had like his viewers making their own pirate flag, you know, and make your own pirate flag and send it in kind of thing. And in one of his videos, he talks about how the pirates pull up, snag all the avocados off the ship. Say the ship's full of avocados, and they pull up, they hijack your ship, and they take all the avocados, and then they're about to leave. They're like, yeah, we just came for the avocados. We don't want to, yeah, that's all we came for. We got the avocados now, so we're going to bounce. But if you want to come with us, you can come with. I think you might be compatible with pirate culture. You want to come with? You got to choose now, though. As soon as we get that other rope untied, we're shoving off. So you don't have long to choose. If you want to come with, you can come with. And here I'm going to try and cover some of the music video Monday by Imagine Dragons without getting a copyright strike. He wakes up in like a mansion and he's going to the kitchen to make some breakfast and he's partying it up the whole way. And he turns on the TV to see the Monday news. Monday is a reference to a brand new start. That's the lyric in the song Monday. So underrated and a brand new start, like a great reset, the beginning of a new cycle. That's what Monday is, the beginning of the next week. So here he's just in the kitchen making some breakfast. And across the news crawler on the bottom, you see Ragged Insomnia. That is an anagram for Imagine Dragons. And then floods, fires, earthquakes, meteors, UFO attack, and war. But they're partying it up. Not in some doomsday underground bunker eating MREs. They're at a top-notch resort. Like the Fields of Elysium. And then something appears to hit the roof and shake the whole building, and they all look up like, what the heck was that? It's knocking dust and plaster down off the ceiling. The power flickers in and out for a minute. But then the power comes back on and it's back to party time. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. They're barbecuing, having a good old time. He's bringing the goods. He's got some drinks. And then it cuts back to the TV. Breaking story. Earth is doomed. Some fire action. And, wait for it. See it? Is that an incoming meteor or a spiked protein that looks a lot like that little spiky ball we were shown for a couple years? It's a very odd-shaped meteor. I think it's a spiked protein. And after you see him playing cards and frisbee and golf and everything else, he hops in an elevator. Then you see him walking up this stairway through this hall up to the surface. Comes out of this cave with his gas mask on to see how things are going on the surface. Runs over here to grab the newspaper, see how things are going. Not too well, it looks like. Is this the end? Signs point to yes. Then he goes back down into his cave. Just in time before that incoming meteor hits. And that was Imagine Dragons Monday. So once you've come to an understanding that these music videos, these movies have a language within them, a subtext or a line of a narrative, a common thread of narrative that runs all through them, all through those music videos I referenced earlier, including the new movie Leave the World Behind, you can read, you can understand the storyline that's being portrayed. And the average person is completely illiterate, unable to read, unable to see, unable to hear the message. And they say, it's just a movie. Yeah, made by the former president of the United States who decided to get into the movie making business. Looks like my microphone wasn't on while I was showing you the thumbnail of this video and explaining that notification for this video by Mr. MB3 came through while I was recording this video synchronistically with the timing of things that are accelerating and happening at a rapid pace now. And the title and the thumbnail say, is Earth in the middle of a giant meteor storm? And he's going to show you some stuff about that. And the super swarm that it references is a super swarm of UFOs. But here he's going to show you some of the super lightning, which he's been showing you on a regular basis this year, that is appearing unlike any time previously. And that super strobe lightning is closely associated with plasma fire, the increased electricity in our atmosphere.
Super lightning out of Florida. Video footage sent in by
Rebecca Carlson from a couple of weeks ago. Lightning out over the Gulf of Mexico, filmed from her location in Florida. The lightning, once again, like we've been seeing this summer, very energetic, loaded with color, nonstop, almost strobe-like lightning that went on for a long, long time. Once again, by Rebecca Carlson out of Florida.
Rebecca. Really?
That's why if the offer is shunned, then you might as well be walking on the sun.
150 miles above the Earth to the International Space Station. Video shared with me by Nelson Jinks from October 3rd of 2023. And what you're going to see here are multiple swarms above the Earth visible from the International Space Station. And I'm calling these super swarms because there's so many of these white objects, there's too many to even count. This is the original video in the original speed. I haven't done anything to this video. I haven't even zoomed in yet, but we're going to zoom in here in just a minute. And you're going to see, especially over here on the right-hand side, clusters of these white objects. In fact, here comes some right now. I'm calling them super swarms. There's just simply too many to count, and they're going in all different directions at various speeds. Don't know where they came from. Check that out. They're going in both directions. They're going towards each other. You have some moving from right to left, and you have some moving left to right. And again, they're moving at various speeds. Some are moving at incredibly high speeds, and some are moving incredibly slow, like these right there. There's a big cluster, a huge swarm of these white objects above the Earth of unknown origins. I mean, it almost looks like it's snowing over there at times. Just incredible footage sent in by Nelson from the International Space Station. You see some high-speed ones over here on the left. Over here is where the highest concentrations of the white objects seem to be the most obvious over here on the right. There are literally dozens and dozens and dozens, just way too many to even count. And notice the high-speed ones over here on the left. Don't know what those things were. They all appeared to be about the same size. Some maybe slightly bigger than others. They appear to have reflective properties or some sort of light around them, whatever they may be. I don't know if they're reflecting sunlight or if they have their own light source. They almost appear to have some sort of a propulsion system. Right there, did you see that huge fleet of those objects moving from left to right? And they were moving faster than the other objects. The objects moving from the bottom up appear to be moving slower than the objects coming from the top towards the bottom. Just an incredible display of mysterious objects high above the Earth, at least 250 miles above the Earth, probably not visible from the ground. But look at those. Look at all those things. A super swarm of white objects above the Earth, visible on October 3rd of 2023. And right here, I zoomed in on one of the many swarms over here on that right-hand side. And see how thick the swarm is? Way too many to even count. And you got to ask yourself, what are these things? Where did they come from? And where are they going? Do they stay above the Earth? Are they just constantly swarming the Earth? Or do they land somewhere? What are these things above the Earth that, as you can see, there are hundreds and hundreds of these things. And coming up right here, you're going to see a very dense, right here, you're going to see a very dense patch of these white objects right here. Here they come. Check this out. Too many, once again, to even count. Right there. There they go. Look at that. Looks like it's snowing up there, visible from the International Space Station. Again, you got to ask yourself, where did they come from and where are they going? Excellent video, once again, sent in by Nelson Jinx from the International Space Station. Thanks for the photos.